On this week's episode of E-commerce Radio, we're looking at Target chasing e-commerce profits. We're also be looking at Etsy being taken over by alien products. Also, Klaviyo and Shopify are coming back together with a brand new deal. All this and more coming up soon.
This is the E-commerce Radio Show, where it's all about using the internet to generate revenue. And now your hosts, David Weinstein and John Schuster.
Hello, welcome back to E-commerce Radio News. I am your host, David Weinstein. I played the wrong intro package today. Unfortunately, I did the one with John Schuster. Unfortunately, he's not here right now. I say John Schuster like it's so formal, but honestly, we're good business partners. Right now, it's just me. We're going to do another just episode of this. We saw some comments or we saw some things that we liked about it. So we really wanted to give this another shot for another different platform. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's start off with our first story coming out of today. And let me share my screen here as we talk about we'll start with retail. So according to CNBC.com, Target is chasing bigger e-commerce profits with new delivery hubs and fleets of drivers. So each day, hundreds of drivers parked at a delivery hub in Target's hometown and load up trucks of their personal cars with packages to deliver to customers. Soon, the big box retailer will have similar centers and gig workers in 3 more places, 2 in the greater Chicago area and 1 near Denver, to get online orders at 2 doors quicker and at a lower cost. The new center are part of growing push among retailers, including Walmart, to make e-commerce more profitable as shoppers spend online and expect purchase is to get to their doors within days or even hours. So, what are we learning here today as we stop the screen share and as we talk this through? So, I think that this is a really interesting development that is going on with modern day retailers. They are understanding the power of e-commerce and understanding the power that e-commerce has for their customers. But they're also running into the struggles that Amazon has put on the e-commerce realm. With Amazon Prime, I think Amazon Prime was maybe the biggest thing that Amazon ever did, and the fact that they're so focused on that and the fact that they're able to deliver products to customers within a day is absolutely insane and has set the bar so high. It makes e-commerce so much more difficult. And it's interesting to see how Target, Walmart, and Walgreens are really struggling to create that system as to deliver to customers more quickly, because there is kind of that expectation. I think this is ultimately kind of bad for small businesses because with small businesses, it's already tough to get people to even buy into shipping. But it's even tougher to buy into shipping when it takes 7 or 3 days to get the product that your customer wants to the customer. And the only solution for small businesses is to include expedited shipping, but then it comes at a higher cost, which a lot of customers just won't pay. And it becomes this real issue. So then the question becomes, do we then invest into going into Amazon, going into their warehouses, and then lose a little bit of profitability? It's kind of tough. It's an interesting landscape that is currently going on. And it does make me wonder if this is going to encourage Amazon to do different things as well. Seeing their competitors create different online warehouses and create different things, it's going to be really interesting over the next couple of years to see how this affects Amazon, if it's going to make Amazon better, and how it's going to affect small businesses, and if there is a way to potentially give small businesses the ability to ship out their products a little bit better. It's going to be difficult still, I think, and for a lot of small businesses, and this is kind of bad news for small businesses, but it's definitely something that we should keep an eye out on here in the future. For our next story, a little bit more lighthearted in some ways, a little bit darker in other ways. Let's talk about this thing going on Etsy currently. So let's go share screen. And let's take a look at the alien products that are currently being shown on Etsy, according to insider.com. So Etsy is full of accounts selling alien products that promise intergalactic healing and protection from 5G. So what's going on here? For just over $50, you can buy a 30-minute Skype session on Etsy that promises access to the healing technology of, and I'm just going to say, Arcturians, an alien species from the planet Arcturus. The seller named Venus, who owns the Etsy store, The Mystical Elven, says that in the description, she started her own journey as an intuitive healer when she was astrally taken aboard starships and healed from birth issues, thanks to the healing power of the Arcturians. She writes she has been able to see her own past life and has permission from her star family to invite others into the experience. The price is decided entirely by them, she states. All right. So once again, I find a story that makes me question literally everything. Like, it makes me question why I've spent 5 years building my small business, when honestly, if I was a worse human being, I could just make so much bank off of selling products like this and claiming random claims. But this story, I say, has a little bit of dark turn. Well, while it is easy to make fun of people who get scammed into this, or it's easy to make fun of like the fact that people are doing this, the fact of the matter is that conspiracy theory products are very, very profitable. In fact, later on in this article, let's see if I can find the section here. Samantha North, a PhD researcher from the University of Bath who specializes in disinformation, told Insider people are attracted to these kind of products for a few different reasons. One is that they can use them as a badge of honor to show allegiance to those who are, and also, quote, enlightened, to mark them out for extraordinary sheeple. If they are true believers, then they really do feel safer having brought these products, she added. They are likely to share with loved ones because they want them to be safe too. And here's my theory about just kind of the whole human race as a general thought, is that I believe that people are susceptible to these kind of things because what we all really want deep down is we want a sense of community. That's why I preach, like, if you're going to create an online store, that figuring out a way to generate a community in your online store is maybe the most important thing that you can do, because you can then set your price to whatever, and then your community will band together against you. However, using these types of products and using these types of sales tactics, I'm always very uncomfortable with, because to me, it feels a little bit more exploitative versus like genuinely offering something that maybe helps somebody, or maybe it makes them look more attractive in certain areas. Like, it feels icky in a lot of different ways. Now, that being said, it's also just kind of funny to me. There is a bit of humor into this whole thing as well. I mean, like, why is this allowed on Etsy? Like, Etsy has been having kind of some different struggles recently. They were looking at, I believe I was researching, and it looks to be that the Etsy is down about 47% from where they were last year. And so it is going to be interesting to see if Etsy can kind of overcome this kind of economic downturn that they've been experiencing. But is it going to be through like these weird alien products? It's going to be really weird alien products. Is something else going to come out? Like, maybe I can buy like seashells that are supposedly from Atlantis maybe in the future. I don't know, that are going to heal every disease I have. Again, it's hard for me to yuck anybody's yum, but to me, this is just like an example of the world that we live in kind of being ridiculous. And it makes me feel like I live in a weird multiverse where things just don't make any sense whatsoever. That being said, part of me does want to still buy one of these alien products. I mean, $50 for a Skype call. I mean, that's a total steal. That's offering more than certain online classes that YouTube creators are creating. Ninja, your masterclass. Not great. But it'll be, again, I feel like Etsy, if we continue down this path and we continue down kind of these news stories, I think that Etsy is going to be kind of the Florida man to my late night TV when it comes to these kind of e-commerce stories that are coming out. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of other ridiculous things that people are going to peddle on Etsy because of how open that market is to just so many different types of products. All right. And then finally, in the actual big e-commerce news, once again, we're talking about Shopify. Shopify made a deal for about $100 million strategic investment in the marketing automation startup on Klaviyo. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at this article. Here, this comes to us from TechCrunch. E-commerce marketing automation platform Klaviyo has received a $100 million strategic investment from Shopify. According to documents filed with the U.S. Scrutineers and Exchange Commission, the disclosure coincided with the announcement that Klaviyo and Shopify will strengthen their existing partnership by making Klaviyo the recommended email product for Shopify's premium merchant plan, Shopify Plus, while garnering Klaviyo early access in development Shopify features. This is huge news. This is very huge news. Klaviyo itself has also been one of these products that I've noticed doing really well in the marketing business. And I think the only other one that I could say has done a little bit better in marketing against it is maybe Drip. I certainly do see some things come out of MailChimp every once in a while. They'll show up in my YouTube recommendations. But this is huge news for Shopify. And again, as a WooCommerce developer, it does scare me a little bit that once again, Shopify is really doing a lot to push WooCommerce and push all these other platforms off to the side. Even though we do a lot of Shopify work, it's very interesting to see where the online landscape is going as far as e-commerce and as far as like Shopify is taking all this product. However, there is a more interesting reason of why I think Shopify is doing this, as opposed to just like the overall beneficial reasons, is that there's no shortage, like it says down here, there's no shortage of competition in the marketing automation tech space. See Line, Sendblue, Cornell, name a few, but Klaviyo has done incredibly well for itself, reaching over 100,000 paying customers, including, I can't read that, Unilever, Derm, Alogic, Solar Stove, and Citizen Watch. To date, Klaviyo, which has over 1,000 employees, has raised around $775 million. But the reason why Shopify is really focused on this, according to this article, is that Shopify's past year investments, or is that in this paragraph right here, there is certainly pressure on Shopify to better weather what's likely to be an extended economic downturn. Last month, the company laid off 10% of its workforce, about 1,000 employees, in what the CEO and founder, Toby Lukti, described as a necessary move in the response to users pulling back on online orders and returning to their old shopping habits. So we see that Shopify is under a little bit of pressure as well. We see that with people going back outside and going back into retail stores, that online shopping has taken a dip in the last couple of months, and Shopify has responded by massive layoffs. And so what they're trying to do here, at least from my point of view, is that they're trying to really secure their future and really solidify a marketing platform that is proven to be very useful, very successful. And maybe one day they'll do a really big integration with it as well. One of the things that I was thinking about last week or a couple of weeks ago, when we were talking about the story of Klaviyo partnering with YouTube, is that why it's interesting to see like why Google is just partnering with Shopify if we know that Google could probably buy them out all automatically. And so it'll be kind of interesting to see if Shopify kind of becomes like Google's plaything. This is all like tinfoil hat here, as this is getting into a little bit the conspiracy theories. But I could see a future where Google eventually buys out Shopify, and that becomes like the main e-commerce store for Google and for all these different and for just kind of the general internet, and WooCommerce gets completely phased out. But it will be interesting to see where we land here in the next like 10 years or so. But anyway, that is pretty much it for all of our main stories here. Again, if you want to support the channel, make sure to hit like and subscribe. I will read your comments if you put a comment, and if there's any e-commerce stories that you would like to recommend, I would highly recommend putting in the comment section. I'll give it a like. I'll give it a comment myself. Give that little reply button, and also be sure to check in for more videos and more content every Friday. We try to keep a weekly upload schedule. We didn't do it last week because we were kind of busy with this little camping trip that we took. But needless to say, we will have new content out typically on Fridays. Anyway. This has been David Weinstein, and this has been E-Commerce Radio.